have a penguin here, and along with me I have Sigma, the master musician of multiple instruments, and among many other things. Just getting over being sick. How you feeling?
I'm feeling better.
Feeling better?
Oh yeah, a lot better. I mean, before the recording, my stomach started feeling, but it's.
Oh, it's just nerves of being on the camera.
Yeah. Or it could be food we ate. I don't know.
That could be. You never know. Well, you had to get better because you have a concert coming up tomorrow, don't you?
Yes.
Tell us what's going on with that.
It's Soft Cult and another band I think I've heard of once, and I cannot pronounce the name of it to save my life.
All right.
That's going to be fun going to.
So you're going to the big city of Pittsburgh tomorrow for this,
Yes.
I'm guessing.
Second time going there for a concert?
Same place?
Nope. It's around the same distance as the other place.
All right.
Sorry. It's called Preserving Underground, and I cannot remember where it is. New Kensington, that's where it is.
Oh, that's not actually in Pittsburgh.
That's like Pittsburgh?
It's actually closer to Butler than Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
So,
But they just
all right.
place it Pittsburgh for it to be like that. Because what's more exciting on a tour, a band, like a tour list of the East Coast? Pittsburgh, PA, or Butler, PA?
Well, I mean, it's not close. It's still about 45 minutes away from Butler. So it's closer to Butler than it is Pittsburgh, is what the point I'm making. It might be actually kind of close in between. I'm not sure.
Yeah. I have no idea what's up with me coughing, but yeah, I think I try to get air.
Did you bring a drink up?
No, but we'll be fine.
I got water. You want water?
Yeah.
Ah. I got a full bottle too if that runs out. All right. Well, scouring around looking at things for us to discuss today, we came up with several good and interesting and highly debatable topics.
Oh yeah.
The first one is the new Alabama ruling on embryos. So the Alabama Supreme Court ruled that frozen embryos can be considered children under their state law. And this raises concerns how the decisions can affect vitro fertilization, commonly known as IVF. It says the decision issued in wrongful death cases brought by couples who had frozen embryos destroyed in an accident can potentially leave clinics vulnerable to lawsuits and restrict access to treatment. So the embryo is created by combining the eggs and the guy's sperm and then transferred to the woman's uterus. That's what IVF is. So it's done in cycles and may take more than one to create a successful pregnancy. The procedure can use a couple's eggs and a sperm donor of their choice, or the opposite, or an egg donor and the husband's sperm or the guy's sperm, however they want to do it. The treatment often uses hormones to trigger ovulation, so multiple eggs are produced, and a needle is used to remove them from the ovaries. So this brings up a lot of interesting things here. The first one I have is you go to the old adage saying, at what point is a life a life? Okay? And we discussed this earlier, and I think we both agree that I don't know, it's so hard. I mean, when you have a fetus, is it a life when it's on its own, just, soaking up the mother's nutrients and everything and living off of her, or when it gets its own heartbeat and, lungs develop and things like that? So, I mean, that's the whole Roe versus Wade thing, too.
My whole thing is once it's basically first breath. like out here, because let's think about, okay, it gets a heartbeat. It gets a heartbeat in the stomach. Well, or in the uterus. Miscarriages happen. Even when they have a heartbeat, miscarriages happen. So what like?
Well, I mean,
what happens then?
well, that's not. I mean, of course, there's no liability there because miscarriages can happen for a multitude of reasons.
But then again, with places ruling that if it's a heartbeat, it cannot be terminated, they're still going to blame the mother on miscarriage, and it's happened in the state of Alabama mostly.
Well, I mean, depending on what happened or what, there's things. I mean, I guess you could purposely cause a miscarriage. Like, I know that I've heard of women that have thrown themselves down a flight of stairs,
Yes.
flight of stairs to, to kill the fetus and things like that. But I mean, it's not common for that to happen.
I think there's only 1 or 2 cases of that happening, and even then, I'm pretty sure it happened after everything was all said and done. I think they found out later that it happened, so they don't get caught. They didn't get caught right then and there.
Right. I mean, but it's hard. And I've been thinking about this like all day since we talked about it. You know, when a baby is growing inside of the mother, I don't know at what point it gets a heartbeat. It obviously doesn't breathe while it's in there because it doesn't take its first breath until it's born.
Yeah. And
that's usually happens when the baby starts crying, is when it takes its first breath. And that's why a lot of times if the baby's not crying, that's why they smack it on the butt to force it to cry, just so it starts breathing. And I mean, that's where that practice came in. But I mean, I don't know. It's kind of like, if you really think about it this way, and I'll be judged for saying this, but when the baby's grown before it gets its own heartbeat and stuff like that, it's technically a tumor in the body that's living off the host.
That's what I've always said. And I've gotten judged for that too.
Well,
and then my whole thing with that, the heartbeat goes back to the heartbeat thing. Tumors have heartbeats. That it is scientifically confirmed. Tumors have heartbeats.
Well, they don't have heartbeats.
Well, they simulate a heartbeat.
No, they don't simulate a heartbeat. What happens is a tumor actually grows blood vessels and stuff in it. So a tumor gets a blood flow just like any other part of a body does. So it's not that it has a heartbeat. I guess it does, but it intercepts arteries and veins and stuff like that, so that blood's flowing through it, just like a part of the body.
Well, I mean, from what I've heard, it does have a little bit of a thing that could be mistaken as a heartbeat. Not like a heartbeat, like a human heartbeat, but almost like simulated is the only I can use to even remotely.
Yeah, well, one of these days I'm gonna get you and your Uncle Tracy together to talk about cancer, because cancer is such a wild thing. I mean, it is so. I mean, it's really amazing the way that it operates and how it survives and how it can mutate.
I mean, I don't know much about cancer, but I do know it's.
I didn't either, but talking to him, because he's in cancer research and that now, you tend to I learned a little bit. So anyway, after this ruling in Alabama, the next thing that came out said Alabama's ruling that frozen embryos or children could impact future IVF treatments. Well, it says they're saying that frozen embryos are people, and if you can be held legally responsible if you destroy them. This is Lisa Chang speaks to UC Davis, professor of law of Mary Ziegler, and she breaks down the possible downstream legal implication for how IVF is performed. And it must not have been a good thing, because the next thing that comes out, less than a week after the Supreme Court ruled that embryos are created in vitro fertilization are considered children, the University of Alabama has ceased their IVF treatments. Quote, "We are saddened that this will impact our patients' attempt to have a baby through IVF, but we must evaluate the potential that our patients and our physicians could be prosecuted criminally or face punitive damages for following the standard of care for IVF treatments." I mean,
I don't see this lasting no more than maybe a month.
You think they'll repeal it?
Yeah, I think they will. If not, then there are a lot of people on the Alabama
Supreme Court
There are a lot of
ruled it.
people that are going to not get re-elected.
You don't get elected when you're on the Supreme Court. That's a lifetime
Oh yeah, that's right.
position.
Well, I mean, something's going to happen, and
I would like to know how the voting went for this. Like, did Democrats vote for it and Republicans vote against it? But there's more Democrats on the Supreme Court than I don't know anything about the Alabama
I
Supreme
think
Court.
there are more. I think there are definitely more Republicans on the Alabama Supreme Court than Democrats. I can tell you that with.
Well, if there's more Republicans on there, then I don't think this would have passed. I mean, but I think that in the state of Alabama, in the South, I would be willing to believe there's more Democrats than there are Republicans.
If there were more Democrats, this wouldn't have gone through either.
Well,
Remember, Democrats are the party of pro-choice. So this not only
Democrats are more pro-life than they are pro-choice. I don't care what they tell you; they're more pro-life than they are pro-choice.
I've not seen.
Because it was Republicans who overturned the national Supreme Court, the Roe versus Wade thing. Yes, it was. It was the Republicans, and they're the ones that voted in the Supreme Court and overturned it. And then it got repealed. Then it got. I mean, I don't. It's all just a big cluster.
There's a thing with Trump where he was saying, "Yeah, Roe v. Wade got overturned. I did that." And that is a legit quote. From
Yeah, but it wasn't his decision. It was a Supreme Court's decision.
It was still. I still believe it was Republicans. I don't. Republicans are pro-life. The Republican Party is of pro-life. Even people of the Republican Party have said that.
Well, it's all crazy, man. I mean, here's the thing: if they did this, how many states are going to follow?
That is true.
I mean, Alabama now has set the precedent that could. I mean, because now what you're going to have is people are going to leave the state of Alabama, go to surrounding states to have this done.
Yeah.
Where it's not illegal, so to speak, and it's going to be interesting. They're going to lose a lot of revenue because this is an expensive thing. I mean, this costs tens of thousands of dollars per time they do it. And then you got to factor the taxes on that, and the taxes that are paid by the physicians, and they're going to lose a lot of revenue because unemployment's going to go up in Alabama. Because think of how many doctors, nurses, aides, everybody, all the way down to the person that cleans the floors in the clinics, are going to be losing their jobs. Or they're going to have to find another field to go into if there's openings. And I just think it's crazy. I think it's a crazy
That's why I said
affirmation that this happened.
That's why I said give it a month and they'll rebuild it.
It'll be anxious to see it, and we'll revisit this in a month and we'll see what happened.
Yeah. Hell, nothing probably won't come of this in a month.
Maybe not. I don't know, but so what's gone in the world that you the realm that you dive into with video games and all that stuff? Anything new happening?
Okay, so there's a world that I'm delving into, and I'm becoming one myself. VTubing. It's basically virtual avatars on YouTube, Twitch, you know. Apparently.
So you mean instead of you're on there, your avatar's on there, but your voice is still on there?
Yes. Sometimes people make up a fake voice, but that happens like 0.1% of the time. So, and there's no way I can talk about this without getting just not really angry, more of confused, but laughing. There is a VTubing group, a VTubing company called Nijisanji. They're all the way out in Japan, but they have an English group, an English branch.
Okay.
They hired someone, I can't remember her VTube name, I only remember the first name, which is Selen. She used to go by Doki Bird when she was independent. Well, everything seemed all fine until one day we find out that she is in the hospital for an attempt. I'm not going any further than that because of YouTube. But if you know what I mean, you know what I mean.
Right, the S word.
Yeah. Once she got out, Nijisanji posted her termination contract. Or her termination notice. In 2 ways VTubers can get out of a company. They can do what is called graduation, which they do it on their own terms. And sometimes it's the best thing for them, or they can get terminated.
When you say graduation, are you meaning resignation?
No, it's actually called graduation.
Okay.
Community. And you would think, oh, she knew about this. She didn't know a thing. They did this behind her back while potentially she was still in the hospital. And she didn't find out until we did. And you think, and she's defending herself, saying, I didn't know anything about this. I have been nothing but kind to this company, and this is what they do. Now, you would think, oh, it ends there, happy end, not really happy ending for her, but oh, what can you do? No. As soon as she tries to defend herself, the company comes back and starts making up things that she's done. She has her lawyer look into some things with the company, and this is me trying to remember this off the top of my head. It was supposed to stay between just her and her lawyers. It was something basically she was writing down as just to get this off her chest.
But nothing is confidential. Eventually, something's going to leak.
Yeah. So yeah, sure, it would go to Niji Sanji. It would probably go to them, and it should go to only them and their lawyers. Allegedly, that is not what happened, because when she was set to go live on her other account, her first time back in over 3 years, there was a live stream set up to go live when she was live through the other talents of the agency, basically saying, oh, she rubbed us through the dirt, we have all these confidential files, and I've read it and I was appalled. You weren't supposed to know about this. So they're digging themselves an even bigger hole because they were not supposed to know what was in that. Whether they actually know about it or just saying they know about it, I can't confirm. But now anyone who was still defending them, they're going back and say, whoa, this isn't cool. And not only that, we find out that this wasn't her first attempt. This was her second attempt. She also had another problem with a music video going live. She has to talk with her management about when stuff goes live, that sort of thing. In the VTuber world, that's not uncommon.
Well, let me ask a question or two here.
Yeah.
Okay. So, being that this is Japan, the V2, I'm guessing the avatars, are they anime?
Some of them are. Well, most of them are, actually. Sometimes they can be animals. Like dogs, cats, even a monkey.
So we're saying this is kind of like World of Warcraft meets YouTube.
Basically.
That's interesting.
You got stuff where it's like a turtle, and that turtle made an AI, which is a VTuber. And it's very scary.
Hang on, is there a penguin?
I wouldn't be surprised if there was a penguin.
I'll have to look into that. You might be seeing me as a penguin here in the future instead of seeing me in person.
I mean, VTube thing, like, VTube rigs cost a lot of money. And it's like, I'm reading about this, and it's sad, but I can't help but laugh at the company, because they have tried damage control, but they end up making it even worse for themselves and trying to make more damage control. And
Okay, let me ask another question. It doesn't have to do with the details. You said the rigs are expensive, so you can't just do this like on your own. You have to buy equipment to be able to do this?
Well, the VTube software that is being used is, by most people, if it's a 2D thing, it's called VTube Studio, or something like that, on Steam. Now, if you're an artist and you know 2D Live, you can do it yourself. All yourself. But I bet you 99% of the community are not artists, and they're not very good at rigging. So, I mean, you can do it yourself, but it's going to be a 3D model, and you don't really have many options on what to use. I mean, I use VC Face for now, and it's very limited on what you can do. It's like a create sim sort of thing.
So how does it work? Does it like show the avatar, and as you speak, the mouth moves?
Yes.
That type thing?
Yes, you have a camera, and it'll.
So it follows your expressions
Yes.
and everything like that.
Yes, you can
Okay.
even have toggles for different expressions and.
Oh, that's interesting. I'm gonna have to just look into that more to see, more about it, because I don't know. You talking about this is the first I've heard of it. So what does that mean for the actual company?
I have no clue. I think I want to say a year, because this is all happening this year. I don't think the company is going to be around much longer. I give it maybe 3 years, and the company is going to go bankrupt. They're going to. I don't know. I want to say 100% this is what's going to happen to them, but they still have a lot of money in this. They haven't gone full bankrupt, but I bet you their investors, any investors they have, are now going to start moving away from them.
Do you think another company may buy them out, take over, or start a new company, or?
The best scenario for them is another company buying them out. And there's a few competitors which I think could buy them out. The biggest one is HoloLive, which is in Japan, I believe.
I guess what I don't understand is if this is something that you can do on your own, or what do you need that company for?
Basically to push you forward. You can do it on your own. It's just really difficult to do so. But with this company, sometimes these companies will do live streams on their own channel to where it will show all the talents probably playing a game together or just being on live together, so you can see all the different talents that are on there instead of just someone trying to make it on their own.
Well, that's interesting.
But I believe.
I hear Sally Mae.
Yeah, she's right here. I believe Ninja Sanji is going to go under in the next couple of years. I see it happening. They're going to get bought out, and I hope it's by HoloLive, because they're the ones who. They know what they're doing, first of all.
Well, hang on. Does she have litigation against the company? Is she suing the company?
She's trying, and here's another funny thing. She's in Canada. Because obviously it's an English branch, you can get stuff from North America. If what they said is true, and they've read through the confidential files, there is a thing in Canada, I can't remember what it's called, any Canadians would be able to tell me, to where the moment that it gets out that someone who shouldn't be reading it, read it, they get, not only does the company get fined a lot of money, because it's not just a thing that happens in Canada. Any company that messes with someone in Canada gets fined a lot. There could be potential jail time in their own country. It's insane. So,
yeah, it sounds like they may be forced to go under with all these fines, and if she has a lawsuit pending against them,
oh, she does.
It could be really bad news for them.
Oh yeah, and this is me just trying to remember everything that happened, and obviously I'm going to forget a couple of things. But the main thing is they definitely messed up, and I'm glad that she's doing well on her own now, because she has fans. This is how I found out about her.
But what is she doing on her own though? What is
anything? And now, actually, at this point, anything she wants. She can do a stream where it's just her talking to the fans. She can play any type of game she wants. It's...
How many followers does she have?
Oh, gosh. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. I wouldn't be surprised if she's almost reaching 1 million at this point.
Damn. Okay.
She might not, but I know it's a good couple 100,000 people.
Okay.
There's just no part of this story that just doesn't sound unbelievably stupid.
Oh. It's like the Alabama IVF law.
There you go.
Well, guess who else is in the news?
Who?
Would you be surprised if I said Donald Trump?
Absolutely fucking not. Sorry.
Well, he just got fined like $350 million and or something that where he can't practice business in New York City anymore or something. I mean, that's where his Trump Towers is. That's where he is located. So I don't know a whole lot more about that, but that's not even the reason why I'm saying he's in the news. He's narrowed his VP list and he's released his short list. And this says it's surprising, but Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is in the top list.
That's not shocking to me.
Well, it's not shocking to me. I mean, I said that right away. When DeSantis backed out, I said it's probably so he can run as a VP because that would help him in the future to become the president if he's a vice president. Let's see, who else do we have? We have former presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy and Tim Scott. Florida Congressman Byron Donalds.
Really?
And South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem.
I don't know.
Which that one surprised me because if there's a female on there, that right there surprises me.
Yeah.
But pretty much, see, DeSantis is surprised because of the way that Trump ridiculed him.
Oh, yeah.
He was calling him Ron the Sanctimonious.
Oh, shh.
So, yeah.
I missed that.
Yeah.
I don't, like, oh my gosh.
Another name that was mentioned was Tulsi Gabbard, a former Hawaii representative who was a Democratic presidential candidate as recently as 4 years ago.
Anyone who was anyone knows she was not actually a Democrat.
Well, I don't know. Trump says they're all good, they're all solid, and as I always say, I want people with common sense because there's so many things happening in this country that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's true. That's true. Now, here comes my favorite discussion. Private U.S. spacecraft enters orbit around the moon ahead of landing attempt. So, SpaceX, which is owned by Elon Musk, has launched a ship that's going to land man on the moon. This is the first private, non-NASA space flight to the moon. It got there quicker than NASA ever got to the moon, but this was back in the 70s when NASA was flying to the moon, so that may, they got more technology now.
Another thing of it, we haven't been to the moon since
1972, I think it was.
That's a while.
It said that today, we're filming this on Wednesday, it said that they reached the moon and eased into a low orbit today, a day before it would attempt an even greater feat of landing on the gray, dusty surface. Now, apparently they're landing on like the south pole of the moon, and I want to say it's going to be around 5:45 tomorrow afternoon Eastern time, and anywhere you can pick up NASA, YouTube, NASA's website, it's all going to be televised. They're going to televise all this. I just think this is amazing.
I mean,
let's see. Yeah, 1972.
I mean, well, people are always like, why are we focused on the moon? Why are we focused on the moon? I'm sitting here saying, okay, we're not focused on what's up there anymore. We know what's up there. Just a bunch of rocks. We focus on the moon. Or here's why I think we focus on the moon. NASA would, if they were to do it now, I think it's just to better the spacecraft on just calculating how much time it takes to get from Earth to the moon.
Well, I mean, we know how much time it gets there. I think that we need to be going to the moon because there's things that have to happen for us to get to the moon. Docking procedures, landing, and stuff like that will help us having manned missions to Mars. I mean, that's the next place that we haven't been to that we're going to go to, and that's Mars. And I think NASA said by the end of the decade we'll be sending man to Mars. We need somebody like Kennedy saying, by the end of this decade, we're going to get to the moon. We need somebody saying, by the end of this decade, we're going to get to Mars. And unfortunately, Biden's too stupid to, say something like that.
I think if Trump gets into office, he won't even mention it.
Oh, I think he will. I think he's a big, space. I mean, he's into all this stuff.
Well, I mean, he hasn't really mentioned it in his former presidency. Why would he now?
This says, Intuitive Machines confirmed its lander, nicknamed Odysseus, was circling the moon with experiments from NASA and other clients. The lander is part of a NASA program to kickstart the lunar economy. The space agency is paying $118 million to get its experiments on the moon on this mission. So NASA is paying SpaceX $118 million for this. I mean, that is something there. I mean, it said that the moon is littered with wreckage from the failed landings, from failed landings. Some missions never even got that far. Another U.S. company, Astrobotic Technology, tried to send a lander to the moon last month, but it didn't get there because of a fuel leak. The crippled lander came crashing back through the atmosphere, burning up over the Pacific. Speaking about this, I have been watching stuff on YouTube and videos about, the Challenger disaster and the, what was it, Atlantis that burned up coming into the atmosphere back in 2002 or 3. I think it was Atlantis, and it was talking about how that happened. Basically, what happened with Atlantis is a piece of foam fell off of one of the large rocket boosters, hit the front edge of the wing, put a hole in it. So when it came back into the atmosphere, all the plasma and everything that they're coming into the atmosphere was going into the wing and ripped the wing off, and it just engulfed the entire spaceship eventually. I mean, you can actually see footage where, what do they call, not novice, amateur photographers or videographers or whatever, were filming this over California as it was burning up coming into the atmosphere. So they actually have it on film of it burning up. And, they have the voice recordings of them coming in up into the point where they didn't respond back anymore because they were gone. And Bush gave a press conference saying that the space shuttle was lost and there's no survivors. Yeah. And they got back, I think they said about 40% of the ship they were able to retrieve from the ocean and across Texas. Because that's where most of the debris fell, was across California and Texas. And they put together as much as they can, but that's what they found. Because they looked at the videos and they saw, here's the thing, they knew before the space shuttle was coming back, they knew that the wing was damaged. But it was a case of there was nothing they could do about it. I mean, they don't carry spare towels and stuff like that. At least they didn't at the time. I don't know if they did after that. But they don't carry spare towels where they could have done a spacewalk to repair it. So they had no idea. Excuse me. And they were commenting on the audio about how intense, they could see the plasma and everything. What they didn't realize was it was greater than it should have been because of the wing on fire.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just, I don't know. But I think that this is a good thing. I think that SpaceX, if they're successful in landing on the moon, I think if nothing else, it's going to kick NASA in the butt to start doing stuff. Yeah, we've been going back and forth to the space station and things like that. We helped build the space station, us and Russia. I think there's 5 or 7 countries that were involved with building the space station.
I think China was one of them.
But, we can't end the legacy of space with just that. I mean, yeah, that was a feat in itself. But we can't just leave it at that. We got to keep going. We have to go because eventually, and it's not in my lifetime or your lifetime, but eventually there's going to come a time, for whatever reasons, we're going to have to leave this earth. And we're going to have to be able to find somewhere else to live. I say we, it won't be us. I mean, society is going to have to find a different place to live. And this probably won't happen until we solve the theories and the math and everything dealing with wormholes, to where we're able to travel faster through space than what we can do with a rocket ship. I mean, colonizing Mars, I don't think is an option, because you'd have to terraform it. You'd have to figure out a way to make oxygen. And and here's the thing. Here's a question I have. If we start, let's just say we start populating Mars. Okay, we terraform and do whatever. Everybody who lives there is going to be a vegan.
They're going to have to be.
Unless they start transporting cows, chickens, and things like that. I mean,
everyone there is going to have to be vegan.
But I mean, here's the thing. Who's to say they're not going to start doing that, though? I mean, you have to understand that, cows, yeah, we eat the meat from cows, but cows actually help in farming in general, because their waste is fertilizer for crops, and and you're not going to have that there besides human waste. If they don't take any animals up there, you're not going to have any of the natural waste.
I mean, to be fair, who's to say that human waste can't be used as fertilizer?
Well, I mean, did you see the movie The Martian?
Yeah, that's pretty much what's going to happen.
That's exactly what he did. I don't know. It's just something to think about. But I'm excited. I will be glued to the TV tomorrow. I'll find whatever the best channel is, either YouTube or NASA website or whatever, to watch and see what's going on. So, I'll be watching it. I hope everybody else watches it. And this will be undoubtedly one of our topics for next week. We may have to go live on Saturday, depending on how much, on what happens, whether it's success, even if it's unsuccessful and they crash. We'll have to talk about that. But, actually, we won't be going live. It'll be the following week if we went live.
Yeah.
Because what we're videoing now, recording now, will be what goes live at 8 o'clock on Saturday.
Yeah.
So I haven't said this before, but make sure that you like these videos, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell so you know when they're coming out. And who's to say we don't throw something in the middle of the week and put it up then? I mean, you want to know we're putting up channels. And that's something that we really haven't, I don't think I've even said that.
Nope.
This is our 6th episode.
I don't think you have. If you have,
can you believe this is our 6th episode already?
6th episode.
Yep. We did 3, then we went live. So this is that's interesting. But do you have anything else you want to add today?
Well, not really.
Anything besides your V-tubing catastrophe?
No, but if anything else comes from that, it will be on the next episode. I'm still just... it's not a case of I'm mad at them. You just read up on it. It's hilarious on how they're digging themselves an even deeper hole, and they're probably going to continue to do so. One thing I left out was the CEO tried to apologize in the most funniest way. it was typical, corporation speech of saying, "Oh, we're very sorry that this happened.
Right.
What we said last time was horrible. We'll do better at our English translations." I'm like, you're just trying to save your skin at this point.
Well, can you blame them?
No, but at this point, it's a moot point. Everyone knows.
I mean, when you realize you do something wrong, and everybody knows you did something wrong, you don't have a whole lot of options. You got to try the backstroke and get your way out of it and make yourself look good by apologizing or doing the right thing or paying her off or whatever it comes down to. Otherwise, social media has a way of destroying companies, careers, people's lives. I mean, it's a very powerful thing.
I mean, this is not the first time this has happened. Obviously, this is the first time it's happened to her. But there was another VTuber that had pretty much almost the exact same story, and we did not listen to her. And she
didn't listen.
We did not listen because we thought she was a liar. We at the time we didn't think her stories made sense, but looking back on it, it made a lot of sense, and we threw her through the dirt. And I feel so bad for even participating in that because I knew.
Oh, you were guilty?
I was guilty because I knew about it. And I that's why, and I was just like, okay, this is obviously, she's probably just making this up just to get money from them or something. And then this was way before I got into the VTubing thing, though. Obviously, so a bit of an unbiased sort of thing there, but it just sounded, everything she said sounded off. But in the context of what's going on now, I'm looking back at her story and I'm like, everything makes sense. I am so sorry.
Are there other people who feel the same way?
Oh, there are other people who feel the same way. Pretty much everyone was against her. And now we're looking back on it and we're like, we owe you a big apology.
No doubt.
Sorry. And
sorry only goes so far, though.
Yeah.
I mean, if you ruin somebody's career and their life and their livelihood, sorry doesn't go very far at all.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I like I said, if there's something else that comes out of this, I'll update on the next episode or whenever it happens. But I don't know how much deeper can they dig this hole is what I'm thinking.
well, we'll look forward to hearing the update next week. I mean, I don't think I have anything else except, tune in tomorrow. Like I said, I want to say it's around 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And, if you like anything to do with space, I mean, here's the thing. I'm hoping that after this happens, that they can say, yeah, we've been to the moon, and there's no conspiracy theorist that's going to say anything. What I would like for them to do, though, is as they're going around the moon, I wish they had good cameras where they could actually take pictures of the landing pads and stuff like that, things that were left behind, because we got rovers up there. There's all kind of space junk up. As you said that, It is time for Would You Rather? Okay, question 1. Would you rather be hopelessly lost in an old town or lost in the forest?
I feel forest. As much as I love exploring old abandoned buildings, I'm going forest.
Yeah, I'm going forest too. I mean, I know a good bit about the outdoors, and I think that
and I like animals, even though they probably don't like me.
Well, the thing is, though, is that there's stuff to eat in the forest. There's anything to even eat in an old town, right?
Yeah.
So we're both going. What's funny about these is how we read the question, we answer, we sort of answer, but we have all these what if questions.
Yeah,
we pick the question apart
because they leave it so.
It's such a vague question.
They leave it so vague. I do like how they leave it vague.
All right. Number 2, would you rather live 1,000-year life or 10 100-year lives?
I mean, I'd say 1,000-year life, but that would also beg the question with the 10 100-year life. Would you remember everything?
See, I would have to say no. But then how would you know that you're living 10 100-year lives?
Exactly.
I mean, how would you even know? I would say the 1,000-year life just based on technology alone. Because when you look at technology, if you go back to 1024 AD to now, look where we've come. I mean, invention of the toilet, electricity, the telephone, the internet, running water. I mean,
That would be
it's just amazing of where we would be, another 1,000 years from now. I mean, it's so I'd go. So we're both so far we agreed on both of them. That's kind of messed up.
yeah.
All right. Number 3, would you rather explore the deep sea or outer space?
Deep sea.
Why is that?
We don't know much about our own planet, but we know a good bit of our own solar system. That's kind of.
Well, I agree. We know less about our oceans than we know about the universe.
And it makes.
And we only know a minuscule about the universe, but we know less than that about our own oceans. So I have to say the deep sea. I mean,
Yeah.
That's not something like Carl Sagan or Neil deGrasse Tyson. They would want to explore space because that's what they do.
Yeah.
But I'm fine with just exploring our own planet. Okay, would you rather be constantly surprised or always know what's coming? That's a tough one. I'd rather 50-50 be surprised half the time and know what's coming half the time. But, I mean, that's not an option.
I think I'd rather know what's coming. Because I can always act surprised if I have to act surprised.
You know how much money you can make telling the future? Because that's basically what you'd be doing. Now, but here again, would you always know what's coming for everybody or just you?
Yeah, I mean,
That's a tough one.
if it's just you, I mean, even if it's just you, I'd still go always know what's coming.
All right.
Like I said, you can act, if it's like a birthday surprise, you know about a surprise party, you can always act surprised. Unless you're
True.
not that
True.
It doesn't take much to act surprised. Come on.
All right. Now, number 5. Would you rather be really fast or ultra strong?
So it's a case of, would you rather be Sonic? Or would you rather be the Master Chief?
Well, no, it's like, would you rather be this half of Superman or this half of Superman?
That too.
I don't know.
I mean,
I think I would say be really fast, and I'm going to tell you why. If you were ultra strong, you would constantly be getting asked by people to do stuff.
yeah.
And that would become, it would become very annoying.
Yeah, I know
So
that.
I would say,
I'd go fast.
I think I'm going to have to go with the ultra fast
I'm gonna be scenic.
as well.
Gotta go fast.
And that is it for Would You Rather. So let's play the outro. All right, we're back, and now that we got covered that,
Yeah.
I think that covers everything today.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't think I don't have anything else,
I don't.
but keep us posted next week on the status of the VTube.
Oh, I will. It's basically a case of how much of a hole can they dig themselves.
You know what's funny is it's very possible that next week we'll only be having 2 subjects talking about that.
And the
talking about SpaceX landing on the moon.
I mean, yeah.
So
I mean, but right now the company they're so close to digging to the core at this point, the Earth's core, that I don't think they can dig any further. They'll be at the moon by the time this is done.
well, all right. Well, appreciate you guys joining us. Again, subscribe, and ring the bell so you know when we're posting things. And this is Penguin
This is Sigma.
saying, be somebody important, be yourself. Peace out.